Hello again, good to see you. Today I wanted to give you an update on an ANZ Bot strategy. I've previously mentioned this strategy to an extent, but it has had a little bit of a revision because I realized I made a little mistake in it. So, there's actually an extra step before that, but the most recent revision was I made a little mistake in it. Now, I don't think I mentioned it before I made that mistake. I did mention it in passing on Melbourne Cup Day, but I haven't actually gone into much detail on this strategy, so I'll show you that now. So this is a strategy that's looking at a few factors. It's taking the form rating for the horse, and it has to have a good form rating. It's also looking at the sky ratings for the horse. It has to have a poor sky rating. As I've mentioned before, I don't put a lot of stock in Sky Racing's ratings. Generally, if they like a horse, I don't. And if they don't like a horse, I probably do. And I've found that this combination works pretty well. Now, this strategy actually started out using the form rating and the jockey trainer rating combined with Betfair's ratings. And I was using Betfair having high ratings, but the Betfair ratings getting into the ANZ ratings has been a little bit intermittent at times. So I've found it's better to work with something else. So I've gone to this with the low Sky ratings, but still using the high ratings for the form rating and for the jockey trainer rating. And that works pretty well. In fact, if I show you my spreadsheet here of the results, we can see here that over time it's come out reasonably well ahead. However, this is where I switched over from the Betfair ratings to the Sky ratings. But you can see it was doing okay, but it had some interestingly long bad runs, and that got me thinking that this shouldn't be the way it's working. It didn't match what I had run through the ANZ analyzer. What I was seeing didn't seem to quite match up. So I took a bit of a closer look and I found something rather interesting. Now, if I just show you today in the bot, right at this moment, here's a race that's coming up in about half an hour at Kempsey. We have a look. This is what the ratings should look like. We have the Sky ratings here. So you can see Heir Apparent is the top rated, although there's a few here that are at 100. Sky seems to have a bit of a tie between 4 of them, and there's a bunch of others here. Now, how does this work in the Sky rating rank? And the Sky rating rank is what I'm working on here to work out whether it's one of the top rated horses or not. Well, we don't have all of these that are sitting on 100 rating getting top billing in the ranking. In fact, the rating system is breaking the tie. It's got 4 horses here at 100. It's breaking the tie, and it's doing it in saddlecloth order. So the first one here at 100 is ranked as first. This second one here, Monte Cruz, ranked as second. Catchy Tunes ranked as third. And Vocation ranked as 4th. Fair enough, it needs to break the tie. That's probably a good thing in most circumstances. There is one small problem though, and this is where I was running into some trouble with it. So if I just show you, this is a race from some weeks ago where I noticed the issue. This one, if you have a look, the Sky rating is 0 across every runner. This is where the issue is. Sometimes the Sky rating doesn't come across. Now, either that's because Sky haven't got a rating, or they've been delayed issuing it, or who knows. Who knows why, but occasionally it doesn't come across. And this tends to be more so in later races than earlier races, but some of the early races in a day, this can happen as well. Well, we saw earlier that the tie gets broken in saddlecloth order. So what does that mean? The Sky rating rank has them in saddlecloth order. It's completely meaningless. So when I'm running a system that, if we have a look here, is reliant on the Sky rating rank being between 4 and 10, well, if the Sky ratings don't come through, the rankings are meaningless and I'm getting selections that I shouldn't be getting. So a simple fix to that: add an extra filter. If the Sky rating itself is 0, we don't place a bet. The Sky rating must be above 0. So we can see here the settings I'm using: the APR rating rank, which is a measurement of overall performance, has to be the top 4 in the race. The jockey trainer rating has to be over 80, so it has to be quite high. The Sky rating rank between 4 and 10, so somewhere in the lower range. And the Sky rating itself must be above 0, so there must be a Sky rating there. And if that's the case, the bet, the horse must be paying between $2 and $10. There must be at least $1,000 matched in the market, so at least there's a reasonable chance that the prices that we're seeing in the market are actually legitimate. And I'm starting off with a stake of $1. I'm doing this at level staking, with an escalation after a losing day, as you saw in that spreadsheet a moment ago. We'll go back to that spreadsheet in a moment, but if we have a look at the moment, so far today, that's down $1. It's had one bet. It is a Monday. It's a fairly low volume day. You don't tend to get a lot. And today being very hot, there's plenty of meetings that aren't happening through the day. In fact, greyhound racing in Australia, the daytime races, not happening at all. Just way too hot today. So we have a look back at some results yesterday, for example, which starts here, the 15th. You can see there was a winner here paying $3.05, a winner paying $3.10, a winner paying $4.40, a winner paying $7.60, a winner paying $3.75. A little string of losses late in the day, but then another winner paying $4.90. And then we've got today's runner, which so far we've had one loss. Have a look at this in the spreadsheet, and we can see that yesterday made $20.74. Now, if I just have a look here, we can see this is the point here where I realized there was a problem with the Sky ratings, and I was in a bit of a long downward run at the time. So I added the Sky rating filter here. I decided to let it continue there, knowing the stake escalations were getting a bit big, but I let it continue because I was quite confident that the system should actually work better after that point and should recover. And it did quite nicely. I mean, the stake was ridiculously high, but it did manage to recover into a positive position for that series, so that was fine. If we have a look at how this looks without anything up to this point, because, well, that was from when things weren't quite set up correctly. Since then, just looking at it, since then, we can see we've had in these, what are we looking at here? We're looking at 18 days. It's made $84.64, and you can see it's met, it's reached a profit in its series across quite a few of those days. So, simple escalation here. I'm starting at $1 stake. If we end up with a losing day, then it goes up to $2. I only escalate after a losing day, so if the day is positive, it stays where it is. You can see here, stayed at $2, stayed at $2, got to profit, so went back to 1. And then, you can see, went to 2, went to 3. After 3, I start going up by 50% per day, so we got to, again, only if it's a negative day. So we stayed at 3, went to 450, stayed at 450, went to 675, went to 1020, and that was where it had a nice profit there. And then had a 1 and a 2, and we're up to today. If we have a look at this in the ANZ Analyzer, this is what this strategy looks like over a longer period. You can see it had quite a good run at the beginning of the year. It's had sort of its ups and downs along the way, but it has enough of these positive days along the way that with the stake escalation, it comes out ahead. If you were to just do it at level stakes, you never escalate. So just sit at $1 stakes all the time, you still come out ahead. you know, over that year, it's almost a year of results in here. That's $155 profit from $1 stakes. Now that's obviously that's not a huge amount over the course of a year, but that's at level stakes. With an escalation along the way, you can do better than that, and that's why I'm doing the escalation, because it has enough periods where it has winners, and you can see this clump of winners in here, for example, clumps of winners through here with these negative days not sort of overpowering the positive days. So an escalation can work here, and that's what I'm doing. So we can see here it's a pretty straightforward system overall, and I'm betting this at 20 seconds before the jump. It's a nice little system working pretty well. Obviously, it doesn't get a positive result every day, but because the stakes are at level staking, it's a fairly slow and steady system, and that little bit of an escalation along the way does tend to make it go reasonably well. So that's a little update on that. I'm hoping to have something for you on soccer later in the week. Depends a little on how busy things get this week, being the week before Christmas, and plenty of things to do. But hopefully later this week, otherwise we'll be a little bit closer to, or maybe just after Christmas. So hopefully I'll see you again before Christmas. If not, I hope the Christmas season is very good for you. Merry Christmas. Hopefully, as I said, I'll be able to bring you a nice Christmas present in a soccer strategy just before we get to Christmas. Until then, happy punting.